Hello and welcome back to the Quick Slant on Green Bay Packer Nation and greenbaypackernation.com. Today we're going to be talking about Trevor Davis. Ryan Hilson, one of our subscribers, mentioned that he thinks Trevor Davis will not make the roster in 2018. And so I thought it would be worth delving into that subject. We're going to talk about Trevor Davis' potential as a wide receiver, as a punt returner, and of course, we're going to talk about the wide receiver competition that's nipping at his heels, so stick around. So where does Trevor Davis sit right now in the depth chart on the Packers roster? I would personally put him right now at 5 or 6 on the depth chart, simply because some of these other young and upcoming players are unproven as of yet, which of course they're going to have an opportunity to change that in dramatic fashion. I would definitely put him at 5 or 6. I would be likely at this point to put him at number 6. He's struggling with injury. He hasn't been at mini camps, and so that's a big concern for him. Trevor's been questionable as a wide receiver even coming into this offseason. He didn't really make any big step forward in the 2017 campaign. And so I'm not sure that he has the ability to hold off these up-and-coming young receivers, and the injury is definitely not going to help his case in any way. So let's talk a little bit about the upcoming wide receivers that are going to challenge him, and probably challenge him strongly for a roster spot. We have Equanimeous St. Brown, who is from Notre Dame. He's very fast, especially when he catches the edge. He's also very versatile. He plays in the slot. He plays split wide. So there's a lot of things that the Packers could do with him, a lot of places he could fill in if necessary. So he has that going for him, and I think he's stronger than Trevor Davis in a lot of ways. But on the flip side, playing for Notre Dame, playing in an independent conference, he playing as an independent, not in a conference, he didn't really come up against extremely strong competition. Certainly not the kind of competition that Davis has come up against in the NFL as he's trying to hone his craft in during his tenure with the Packers. Second is Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He is from South Florida, I believe. He is very good catching in traffic. If you watch any of his highlights, basically you toss the ball in his direction and he's going to come down with the ball. Again, playing for South Florida, not a whole lot of competition. He did come up against Illinois, and Illinois at the time was 2-0, as was South Florida, and he did quite a substantial job against Illinois. But he does have that going for him. He's great catching in traffic, which in the NFL, you're almost always in traffic. So that's another competition for Trevor Davis. And lastly, J'Mon Moore from Missouri. He's quite a strong receiver. If you watch J'Mon Moore play, yards after the catch are his big forte, I think. He definitely is great at shedding tacklers and getting extra yardage down the field. So any of these three guys, they're going to they're playing at a level below the NFL where there's still a lot of room to grow. And I believe that they'll all grow to some degree. The question we have as far as whether Trevor will be able to hold on to his roster spot or he will lose that roster spot to these guys I think is going to come down to, well, I don't think. It's going to come down to how the rookies perform in training camp and in the preseason. If they can show some flashes of ability, flashes of potential, then they're probably going to make this roster and bump Trevor Davis out. So if we go back to the average that the Packers hold on to as far as wide receivers go, 7 or 8 wide receivers on the roster once the 53-man roster is set. If I'm correct that Trevor is, let's just say he's at number 6, all 3 of these rookies would have to show a little something to slide up into that, to bump Trevor Davis out of being on the roster as a wide receiver. So really it's going to come down to, I think, 1, how the rookies perform, and 2, whether Trevor is showing any repercussions from his injury. So let's say for instance, just say hypothetically that Trevor is not going to make the roster as a wide receiver. Can he make the roster as a return man? We all kind of got excited last preseason because Davis had taken the initiative to try to learn his craft in the punt return game, and at times he looked flashy. At times he looked really like he made pretty poor decisions. So the reality is the Packers are only going to hold on to Trevor Davis as a punt returner if he can prove that he can threaten the other team every time he touches the ball, and I just don't see that happening. I see it more likely that the Packers will, either go with Jair Alexander, who was a return man, or even Ty Montgomery would be a semi-reliable punt returner, kick returner for the Packers. He was a return man for Stanford and one of the top ones in the NCAA. So in light of the fact that Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams have shown that they can be a 1-2 punch in the NFL as a running back duo, even if Ty is in the rotation as a running back, putting him back there to return kicks and punts probably would not be a step back from Trevor Davis, and the extra hits he would take in this special teams would not impact the Packers' running game to any great extent. So, all in all, it's a little early to tell whether Trevor's going to make this roster or not. At least I think. The injury is going to make it tough for him, and the competition he's up against is going to be good. So my guess is that Ryan's probably right, that this is probably the last year that Trevor Davis plays for the Green Bay Packers, and probably will move on to some new wide receivers that show that they can be a part of that receiving game, and just let the return game fall on other shoulders this year. So let me know what you think. And as always, if you have not subscribed, definitely hit the subscribe button and tap that bell notification. If you're interested in contributing to our shows, you can go to our Patreon account at patreon.com/PackerNation, and you'll get extra content there from my brother Brady in his out-of-breath Armso Packer Minute, and we would love to catch you back here next time on the Quick Slant. So go Pack!